The volume V of gas varies inversely to the pressure P. So let's write out our inverse variation. So our standard formula for inverse variation is Y equals K divided by X. So in this case, we have the volume V of a gas varies inversely to the pressure. So that would be K divided by P. And then let's fill in what they gave us. I'm just going to make a slight adjustment here that I think this is meant to be square centimeters, just so our calculations aren't too crazy. So just change that on your paper. So the volume of a gas, so let's fill this in, is 200 square centimeters. Under pressure, so 200 would be K divided by, and then they gave us the pressure, which is 32. And then we just have to figure out that K would equal, and we can multiply both sides by 32 to solve for K. So 32 times 200 would be 6,400. And then it wants to know what will be its volume. So we got to go back and fill in some information to figure out this last part of our question. So what will be the volume under a pressure of 40? So take your new K value, which you now know is 6,400, and divide it by the pressure, which is 40, and you get 160. Alright, so let's take a look at the ones down here at the bottom for a minute. For each of the following relations, indicate whether it is an example of direct variation, inverse variation, or neither, and identify the constant of proportionality when possible. So for part A, it says the rule E equals 7.50H gives wages earned at a job as a function of number of hours worked. So you can tell by the look of that equation that it looks, let me get a smaller pen real quick. It looks like it's in the same form as direct variation. So that would be a quick way to tell that this one is definitely a direct variation. And then the K is really easy to see as well, because that's just right there in the formula they gave you. So K would equal 7.50, which I'm guessing is $7.50. And then B says, when members of an agriculture cooperative pool their money to buy a $40,000 hay baler, the cost per member depends on the number of members and is calculated using that formula they gave you. Oops, 1 second. Let me get this back to regular size. Alright, so using the formula they gave you, notice that looks a lot like inverse variation. That's a really quick way to tell if it is one or the other. The other way you can decide is as one of the items increases, would it make the other one increase? Or is it the opposite? As one increases, the other variable would decrease, and that would be inverse variation. So notice when members of an agricultural cooperative pool their money to buy a hay baler, the cost per member would depend on the number of members. So like if more members are going to contribute, then the cost per member to buy that item decreased because more people are contributing. So those are inversely related. And then we can pick out the constant K. Just by looking at that formula, we can see that K would equal 40,000. Alright, so hopefully these help you get started.